This is Real People, Real Stories. The purpose of these interviews is to uplift, motivate, and encourage. And remember, these are real people with real stories. It's not your story or mine. It's their stories and their testimonies. God first and overcome by testimony.
Check. I get wins, no days off. I don't stop, no days off. It's God life.
Where we're at are just speaking, like you said, in that chronological order of how you met Michael Jackson, the icon, the legend. Rest in peace, rest in heaven. I seen his star out there on the Hollywood Walk of Fame last year. We were there, but just tell them how you met Mike and the family.
Well, I was working to try to put together the Woodstock reunion festival several years ago. And in my travels, I knew a guy that knew someone. Well, he knew the president of Jackson Records. And I wanted to see if he could help me find some artists that I was looking for, because he had, Joe Jackson had a lot of contacts. And I ended up having a meeting with Joe, and we discussed, some shows that he wanted to do and what I wanted to do, and we started to coalesce an idea of how we could work together. And I was dealing with Live Nation at that time, because they owned some of the venues that we wanted to use. And right about then is when that story with Tommy Bashir, or whatever his name was, the reporter that basically hoodwinked Michael and tricked Michael, and then edited things that Michael said into a news story that was put out on ABC, basically suggesting that Michael was a pedophile. And he also talked bad about his father, saying his father was, brutal and beat him and things like that. And I had to call Joe that night, and I said, Joe, I don't know if you know what was just on the air, but this isn't good. And he said, yeah, well, let's just see if we can get through this. And I was like, okay. And I called Live Nation the next day, and which is one of the vice presidents, and he said, well, just give me a second here. Call me back in 5 minutes. So I called back in 5 minutes, and he then started questioning me, and he was like, do you think you could get Janet Jackson to do one of these shows with you? And I said, no, this is the one that I'm talking to you about is a doo-wop show, stuff from the 50s and 40s that Joe Jackson liked. He was trying to cater to his audience of his age group, and he wanted to put a tour together of all these old artists and put them, into arenas, because they would be able to pack the arenas. But Live Nation had all the contracts along with AIG. Yeah, they're responsible for destroying the music business, as far as I'm concerned, because it's kind of like Ticketmasters. You can't buy a ticket anymore to anything without Ticketmasters getting a cut of it. They're all monopolies. They control all these industries, and you see what they've turned them into. Shit, the music is crap. It's demonic. There's no soul in it whatsoever. I can't even call this beatbox stuff music. Music died in the 80s, basically, in my opinion. This guy is, he started joking with me and about Janet Jackson. Then he was like, can you get what's her name? I can't remember, Michael's other sister. But he was making fun of her, and then I heard there was like hundreds of people behind him in the background who'd been listening to our conversation. I thought we were having a private conversation. And then they all just started laughing when I realized what had happened.
Was this on phone or in person? What was this on, the device or what?
I'm talking to the vice president of Live Nation, the concert promotion / owner of every venue. Definitely. By contract. And he just set me up so he could, have a nice laugh. As far as what happened to Michael, that's a whole nother story. How he was trapped, and he was protecting all these kids from pedophiles. Ooh. And they were trying to paint him with the same paintbrush that they're guilty of. And they set him up to try to make it look like he was, but he was not at all. And I'd had the the fortune. I had a friend who was head of film services for Disney, and he would provide prints of movies that Michael wanted that would be delivered up to whatever that place was. He had the I don't know, his fantasy land there. I'm just having old timers disease here. I can't remember at the moment.
No, that Neverland.
Neverland. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to take my kids up there, and we spent the day there. I got to hang out with an orangutan. I was like sitting right in front of me and touching me while I'm touching it, and it's smiling and laughing, and I'm laughing too. And it's the most incredible experience I ever had with wildlife. Well, I've had a few, but that was one. I could see that this place was not built to trap kids. Most of the kids that were there that day all came from Make-A-Wish Foundation. These are kids dying of cancer and all sorts of other diseases. He built the place for kids like that, and for Macaulay Culkin and all these other kids that were Hollywood stars, and they were being just attacked left and right because their parents weren't paying attention to what was going on. All the managers were pedophiles.
God bless you for tapping in with this great interview. It's all done through Yahweh, God first, and all the connections he's allowed me to get. You got feedback? You got topics that you want me to ask the person? You got any questions? Anything that we didn't answer in full? Hit me up. Just send an email to 8amexposure@gmail.com. It's going to be listed right here on the screen. So hit me up. Let your voice be heard in this new year, 2025. Real people, real stories. Talk to me.
This for all them half devil, half God, crystal using fake, teaching fake, preaching only for YouTube and for them little views. Half Christian industry abusing. What does it profit a man to gain the world if it's only lose it, man? Stop wearing dresses. Stop wearing dresses. If you dudes born men, tell me why you wearing dresses, homie. Stop wearing dresses. Just stop.